Let's get started by installing RethinkDB, and I'll do this on my Macintosh, and there's a couple of different ways to do it. So start off by heading over to rethinkdb.com, and here you can see the install link right there at the top. I love that. And the version they have up there is version 1.16.2. Actually, the latest is 1.16.3 as I record this now. But anyway, if you click on install, it will take you to, guess what, the installation page. Here, you can see all your different choices for installing RethinkDB. There's Ubuntu, OS X, CentOS, etc. And yeah, RethinkDB does not run on Windows. However, you are a capable developer, and if you're running on Windows and you want to play along today, kick up an Ubuntu VM. And right here are instructions for installing on Ubuntu, and you can just follow these directly from their site. It's a real quick and easy installation. Setting up a VM is simple. Head over to Azure or whatnot. You can also download and install the OS X installer if you're using a Mac like I am. You can download the installation, as you see here on the top left, or you can just use Homebrew. Either one works really well. If you want it completely isolated, maybe using Homebrew might be better. But for today, I will be using RethinkDB 2.0. And you can see the release announcement post right here. Read it if you like. It's full of good information. However, if you go down to the bottom, you can see a link to their GitHub repo where you can download the 2.0 release candidate 1, which by the time you watch this, well, you're probably not going to need to do this. I believe 2.0 is going to be released by the time this video pops, but just in case it's not, here's instructions for downloading and using the OS X release candidate. All right. Once you have it installed, let's check our version. You do this by typing rethinkdb-v into the command line as I've done here, and you can see I'm running 2.0 release candidate 1. Typing in --help, you can take a look at the commands that are available to you, as well as a few other things. But notice there's not all that many commands to working with RethinkDB. It is bleedingly simple. In fact, to actually run RethinkDB, you just don't have to enter anything at all. We'll come back to some of these commands later on. For now, let's start RethinkDB. And there you are. It starts right up. This is something to note straight away, that when you start RethinkDB, it will initialize a data directory right in the directory where you started it from. And it calls this rethinkdb_data. I kind of like this, as it keeps all your data files easily accessible and manageable. The next thing to take note of here in the log splash is that you have 3 different ports that you're going to have to remember. 29015, 28015, and 8080. We'll talk about the first 2 later on, but 8080 is the one that I am most interested in because that is the administrative interface. Taking a look at our directory here where we launched RethinkDB, this is it. That's the data file right there. If you want to get rid of your database, just delete the data file. That might sound a little scary, but for development, it makes life easy. Let's head over to the administrative screen, go to localhost and then 8080 and take a look around, and here it is. That's the administrative interface. It's gorgeous and it's simple. It's easy to use, and it's also aware. It gets push notifications from the server itself, so when anything changes, you're notified immediately. For instance, let's see what happens when we shut our server off. This will give you a good idea of how well the team has thought through this admin interface. Look at that. You've been disconnected from the server, and it grays things back. It doesn't sit there and try and cycle and execute commands on a dead server. All right, for now, let's remove our RethinkDB data directory. And as you can see here, it's gone. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to reconfigure my server. I want to launch it with different options. And to see those options, type in --help. Specifically, I don't like the name that it gave my server. It just kind of came up with one. It was the name of my machine and then some random characters. I'd rather have a name that means something. So scrolling all the way to the top here, you can see the -n flag. That means server name, or -- server name if you want to be more clear. -d would be if I wanted to specify the exact data directory. I'll just leave that alone. What I think I want to do is I just want to start it up with a name, and I'm going to call my server Zane. And there it is. It's all set up and ready and running. Now, it's worth pointing out that if you just turn off your server and try and start it again using -n, well, that would not rename your server. RethinkDB is a little bit more robust than that. However, if you wanted to rename it through the admin interface, you certainly can. We'll deal with renaming servers later on.